Welcome to Running a Fever, episode 76. My name is Michael Davis. I lost 70 pounds, 8 inches off my weight, lowered my blood pressure, become a fitness nut all at the age of 52, and it feels great. I love my life so much that I want to make it last as long as possible. If you feel the same way, then welcome to the journey. If you don't, why not? Why not? That's what we're going to talk about today. Howdy. So it's very crowded. I keep seeing people running, walking, biking by. Makes sense because it's a beautiful day. I have no idea what temperature it is, but it's probably around 80 something in the sun, 70 something, maybe a little warmer than that. I don't know. In the shade, it just feels good, people. It just feels good. I'm already 3 miles into a full perimeter of Lake Fayetteville, 5.25 miles. Sunday afternoon, and I've already done some of the good things in my life today. And I keep saying that I love my life so much, I want it to last as long as possible. Why do I love my life these days? I mean, that's something to think about. I mean, if you feel good about your life, that's great. But man, this is beautiful. I can barely hear the traffic, and I'm walking by this private property with the hay bales or hay stacks or hay rolls, whatever they are, big rolls of grass or hay or whatever it is, and trees, and it's just awesome for somebody who is in a city, confined to city life. It's great to be out and have these moments, some of the things I appreciate more now. I used to just hate being outside. It's torture. I would do it for the sake of exercise. Not too long ago, I would do, because it was convenient, I'd just walk around my apartment complex, and it was good. I don't know how much it was, like half a mile, I guess. I'd go up and down. It's one of my intermittent bouts of exercise. Nothing like what I'm been doing now for 8 months or so. But I did it, and I said my rosary, and I walked, and I got some exercise. And it was good, it was convenient. I could do it right after work and then get back to the things that I like to do. Now, this is what I like to do. How did that happen? I don't know, kind of by accident. The same thing. I knew I needed to get some exercise, and I made it a priority. And then I started this podcast, which really motivated me to get out here on a regular basis. And after a while, it became habit, and it became something that I enjoyed. And I enjoy it a lot more than sitting in front of a computer screen, eating and watching a video that requires nothing of me physically or mentally. It's just passive stimulation. I really enjoy this a lot more. I used to spend most of my time alone. It's really uncomfortable being with other people, and that's because other people are complicated, and sometimes it's challenging to do that. So I just kept to myself as much as possible. It's a whole family in a 4-wheel pedal vehicle. I can't imagine how they get up hills in that thing, but they're obviously having a lot of fun. That's something I kind of would like to have for myself. Family fun. Anything worth having or doing requires some sacrifice, and that's what is the sort of momentum you have to, or what's it called? That's the resistance you have to overcome before you build momentum and move forward with it, like I am with exercise now. I know that interacting with other people requires that sacrifice. Howdy. But it's worth it. I saw the detrimental effects of being a loner It's, you know, people are designed to be, you know, we're communal, interdependent beings, and so I can't even put into words the really detriments that being alone all the time were. Howdy.
Hi.
But it took effort to get out and interact with people. And over the last 3 years or so, well, more than that, but I guess the last 3 years I've seen really good results to that, because I've developed or deepened relationships I had with people earlier that have turned to be very beneficial to me in so many ways. And maybe someday I'll be able to quantify that and explain it better, but it's a fact. And that's one of the other things that's just part of my life. And I didn't realize that my relationships with people were the most valuable part of my life until, you know, it was probably 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 6, 7.5 years ago, almost. Give you the date that happened. I'm so focused on myself and what I could do for the world. Money was a big part of it. I thought that I could make a lot of money and I could do something significant in the world. Anyway, I've learned that relationships are the thing in life. And so I've worked to develop those relationships and enjoy them over the last few years. Love my life because of that. Got that now. And I keep referring back to the time when I did not love my life, because it's easy to see the difference today. And, you know, I'd really like to know how you, what you love about your life. And if you don't love your life, why not? So let me know. Comment on this episode at runningafever.com. Send me an email, mail@runningafever.com. And my faith is much stronger today, and I reconnected with my faith about, again, 7.5 years ago. It seems to be a point in which my life, it was a turning point, it was a crossroads in my life. And I'd gotten to the point where I didn't really believe in God. It's a very short period of time, but even before then, the God that I believed in was not personal. It wasn't a God that interacted in my life, really. But if I interacted, then there were certain good effects. Howdy. And then over the course of, I don't know, several years. It was a pretty long period of time. I started just thinking about it intellectually and trying to put logic in there. Not that logic doesn't belong in an evaluation of God, but this was just more, it was a different kind of logic, let's just say. Anyway, I got to that point where I just decided that I was an atheist. And about 2 weeks later, I was devastated and not really sure that I wanted to continue living. Because at that point, there was no purpose to life. The meaning of life, why we're here, has everything to do with God. Now, I'm not one of those people who, you know, believes that God has us all mapped out like robots. I know that God knows what we should do to have the best life, but we also have free will, which means he doesn't know what we're going to do. Now, I mean, technically, if he's God, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, then, howdy. He can do that. You know, nothing is impossible. He can write straight with crooked lines. But as far as our understanding goes, he can't really. Only because he's decided not to know. Because once God knows that path exists, then we have no choice, philosophically. Once something exists in the mind of God, it exists in reality. It's pretty deep philosophical stuff, but hey, I like philosophy. God made us to love him, and loving him, being with him, is the most fulfilling, enjoyable, valuable thing that we can possibly experience. But if we didn't have the right to choose, it wouldn't be the same. Belief is something that I do. It's a choice. And I saw that in the same way that I just saw that family in the four-wheel pedal vehicle. I saw people that were believers and how happy they were. And I wanted that, and I said, you know what? Belief is a verb. It's something I do. It's not something that happens to me. I don't have to determine from reading books and writing formulas and going through the logic in my brain what is it that I should believe. If I believe it, then I believe it. And I chose to believe that which makes me happy and good, that which produces love in my life. And since then, of course, I've been able to experience that, and that is one of the things. Walking through Veterans Park now, heading for the spillway. Can already hear it, just a little bit. A lot of people here, kids playing on the sidewalk, trying to keep from getting run over. Hi, howdy. It turns out when I got back to faith, I'd had it all along. I had a history. I had just forgotten that, I knew I had this belief in God all along, up until that moment. I'd forgotten that I once felt so strongly about my Catholic faith that I had converted from being a Baptist to being a Catholic 24 years earlier, something like that. And I had this all along. And I just realized that on that day. I'd faced the life has no meaning thing earlier in life and just decided that I wasn't going to give up my life just because of that. And so it was, just logic brought me the other way. We're crossing the bridge here. Spillway is not as active as it has been in the past. Looks like the weather's been hot recently, and so the water level is down. And so there's not as much water spilling over as there has been recently. In fact, I had gone to a priest to sort of get back on track, and I explained how I had lost my faith for a while, and he said, no, you didn't lose it. You never lose it. And so that feels good, but being back, this is one of the things that gives me joy in life, is practicing my faith, knowing that God accompanies me throughout my life. Jesus is with me during the day, even if I don't always recognize it. Reminding myself on a regular basis. In my meditation in the morning, when I go to church on Sunday, the people in my life that I've surrounded myself with that are people of faith, this is just a richness in my life that I would not want to do without. Howdy. I'm on the dam. There's a nice breeze blowing off the water. It's really kind of cool. Some people way out there in a pedal boat. Why would you choose a treadmill over this? I have no idea. I have no idea. It's a mark of insanity. Sure, there are good reasons. Like the other day when I was, caught somewhere, I'd been driving all day. I was going to drive all day the next day. Got a workout in the hotel. To some degree, I think it's people that maybe like I was before, that I was just doing it out of whatever the most convenient method was to get it over with. Anything in life that you're doing that way takes away from the enjoyment of life and the love of life. Sometimes it seems impossible to eat healthy and enjoy it, to work and make enough money and enjoy it, and do exercise and enjoy it. All these things can be done in a way that contributes to my love of life. I just got to find it. And that's part of the effort, just not sitting back and letting it happen, but trying to find a way, always being aware, even if you're not successful in finding something, just being aware that you need that in your life. I need some kind of family aspect in my life, and that's one thing I'm looking for, and not just easy to find and make happen. Sometimes I don't know what I want until I see it in other people, and that's seems to be a pattern. And that's why I think it's important to have really good, healthy people around you that you want what they have. You want to be like them, because you wind up being like them. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Howdy. If you spend time with people who sit when they're, together with people or out in nature and are just sitting around looking at their phones, well, that's what you become. Certainly not going to get in a conversation with them. You want to do something today to change that? Maybe you don't love your life that much. Maybe you're lonely. All right, here's what you do. Get up and go somewhere where people are. Maybe you're not buying what I'm selling on the whole faith church thing. I mean, I'm not really selling it. It's just my experience. But I'll tell you something, you go to church and find somebody there who's alone and give them a hug. I mean, if you feel like you need to ask permission before you just jump in on a hug, that's fine. That's probably a good idea. I started doing this. We're fortunate enough at the place where I work to have chaplains, and one chaplain in particular that I've met with and I know, and he said, when you're single, you can still, hug people and get, have some physical touch, which is, we all need that. And I don't know, sometimes people are not into that. But I do that, and people, find a single person or a, widow. There's some just wonderful ladies at church. And now, they expect it. When I'm there, they expect to get a hug before they leave. So this is awesome. Hug somebody. Change your life. Change somebody else's life for just a small moment in time. Well, if you're listening to this, I hope that either you love your life or you want to love your life and you're willing to do something about it. If not, then hang on. I'm going to be talking about this a lot because it's really what this whole thing is about. Do you love your life enough to make it last as long as possible? If not, well, why are you out here? Why are you doing something about your health? Because the side effect of exercise, diet, and medicine, taking these things seriously, is that you're gonna live longer. I hate to break the news to you, but that's just the fact. So if you're not really crazy about that idea, and You may want to go back home and have a seat in front of the computer or the TV and, light up a cigarette, reach for some chips and queso, and scream headlong into a short life and a quick death. Well, kind of a slow death, actually. On that morbid note, I'm gonna sign off. Hopefully you're all just laughing at that. So yeah, let me know how your love affair with life is going. Send me an email, comment. Check out YouTube, Running Fever. runningfever.com, or subscribe in your favorite podcast catcher. Keep the fever. I'm out.
This is the Paddle Up Podcast Network. paddleupmedia.com